You know security is hard, so let's assume we're probably gonna get pwned by noon. But if we all start to get the basics right, we might not fully get pwned until tonight.
All right, it's happening. Ken, what the heck are you doing here? All right, I think all the things are working. You can hear me okay? Yeah, I always like to do a sound check. Yeah, you can? Okay. I know you were worried about it, Ken, but you know how I have that Procaster thing, or Rodecaster, where I can do like giggity soundboard stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I sent it back for, I know lots of people were probably worried about this, so I just thought I'd give you and everybody an update. I sent it off to Rode Factory to get whatever reset. They shipped me a brand new one, and I got that bad boy yesterday or the day before. Plugged it in. What's that?
Let's try it out. Let's see it.
Well, I'd like to, but the thing is, I plugged it in, and it does the same thing. It boots to the Rode screen, and then nada, nothing. You can't get a giggity, you can't get a jingle, you can't get anything out of it. So anyway, big heartbreaking news here. Yeah, tragedy. But Ken, thanks for joining us. All of you at home, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to be talking about cracking and mapping and execing with Crack. Okay, yeah, take two. Ken, what we're going to be talking about is cracking and mapping and execing with CrackMapExec. And the reason I wanted to make a tongue twister title is because when we talked to Marcello, the CrackMapExec mastermind, I think he made some comment about how it doesn't really roll off the tongue. And that maybe he went through some renaming iterations and then was like, forget it, we'll just stay with it. But I didn't know how to describe in a title what I wanted to be talking about when what CME does is crack and map and exec. So there we go. I'm equally as talented as at picking out titles
down by the seashore.
Right. So we'll just do a couple housekeeping things, a couple news announcements, which Ken has a very special one that we'll let him share. Then we'll get into just hardcore cracking and mapping and execing. I got to watch my mouth to not say something that sounds like cracking. Then we'll take a quick commercial break. And then if you enjoyed cracking and mapping and execing, we'll do a little bit more of that after the break. And then if you hang around to the end, you will get a very special email address that you can write to get a chance to win a ticket to a special event that Ken will be talking about momentarily that I am bothered, Ken, that I cannot make. But I'll let you talk about it in a minute. The housekeeping quick items from me. Where you are right now is a live stream that's every week where we talk about security stuff. And that is at 7minsec.com/live. As you can see, I have the old schedule up, but we do something here at 1 o'clock Central every Thursday. So you're welcome to join on YouTube or wherever you consume your streaming things. And then with that, Ken, why don't you tell us about a special event you're planning that's coming up in the near future? What do we need to know about it?
Okay. Well, we are putting on what, if I could, die and go to heaven and have a cybersecurity conference curated just for me, it would be this one. We have put together a hacker conference at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. So we're going to be at the actual Space Center. Which is awesome in and of itself. We're really excited to, secure that venue. Some really nice folks over there. And then we have been able to secure this ridiculous lineup of amazing talent and sponsors, partners, all of this for a good cause as well. The specifics on the conference, it's April 13th through the 15th. And the way we have that set up is on the 13th and the 14th is paid 2-day professional training. And because we're doing this all as part of a collective mission to provide cybersecurity training and awareness and certifications to the underserved communities and minority groups, our trainers and talent have graciously decided to offer their paid training and workshops at cut rate prices. They're basically, doing it at a fifth of what they charge at Black Hat and DEF CON and other conferences because of the buy-in into our overall mission to help everybody. So we have some ridiculous paid 2-day trainings there at ridiculous prices, which also gets you admission to the conference, which is on the 15th itself. People like Mr. Unicoder, we have Nikhil Mittal, we have Royce Davis, Q, we have the Black Lantern folks doing a pay what you can model. So you can, in homage of our friend and sponsor Black Hills, trying to make it available to any and all. So if you purchase a conference ticket, you can sign up for that paid 2-day as well. Pay what you can. Royce has agreed to offer his at $400, which is amazing 2-day training. He wrote the actual Art of Network Penetration Testing book. So you can get a network pen test course from the guy who literally wrote the book on it, which is kind of cool, at $400 because he wants to support the mission as well. So that one, you would, for double the cost of a regular 1-day conference ticket at $200, then you would get the 2-day professional training as well on top of that. So that's a really good deal. We also have a password cracking from BCS Group, which is a 2-day training there from Dimitri, Team Hashcat. They're coming in from South Africa. So the people. And then we're doing the CRTE training from Altered Security. Nikhil's doing his Azure AD course. And then Chirag, his other associate, is offering a virtual training version of their advanced attacking and defending red team or Active Directory, which is a great course too. So there's everything running from, and BC Security, I forgot them. They're doing their advanced threat emulation 2-day training. So all of these would be offered at Black Hat and, DEF CON at significantly higher prices. We're going from $1,500 all the way down to pay what you can, which is awesome. So we have that on the 13th and the 14th. On the 14th, which would be the second day, we're doing a really cool thing, free training workshops. And on the free workshop day, you don't need a conference ticket at all. You don't even need to register. You do need to register on our website. I take that back, but you don't need to pay any money in the spirit of our overall mission for security awareness and training and reaching the underserved. We are doing 2-hour free workshops on that day. So you can just register, show up at the Space Center, and attend some ridiculous workshops there. We have Bo Bullock doing a 2-hour Breaching the Cloud workshop. We have Tim Roberts and Brent Wright from Dark Wolf Solutions, and We Hack People doing a covert entry workshop, which is be really cool. We have Philip Wiley, the author of the Pentester Blueprint book. He's doing starting a career as an ethical hacker workshop. We have David Schloss and Ross Flynn doing a 0 to emulated criminal Windows MalDev workshop, which is the first 2 modules of their paid 2-day training that was offered at DEF CON. So that's free. We have Georgia Weideman, author of the very first book I ever got on pen testing, and sure yourself and some
same thing.
Yeah, so she is doing an introduction to reverse engineering and bug hunting workshop using real CTF problems. Then we have the folks at Prelude Security doing an intro to continuous security testing, more of a blue teamer type training, which is going to be rad as well. And then we were really excited. This is an international conference, an International Space Station type thing. We have Carlos Palop, the creator of WinPeas and LinPeas and the Hack Tricks ebook.
That's who's behind that?
Yes. And Purple Panda for Cloud, he did that as well. He is doing a workshop on an introduction to Privesk with the Peas suite. So WinPeas and LinPeas with hidden tips and tricks on how to more effectively use the tool, which is pretty awesome. So he's coming in from Madrid. We also, the hits keep coming, Brian. Like I told you,
I hate that I can't come.
So we have Ed Scotus doing, yes.
Of course you do.
The president of SANS and the founder of CounterHack is doing a storytelling workshop. So that one's capped at 14 people, the first 14 to register. Again, these are all free on this day, so that's ridiculous. So you can get the president of SANS offering a 14-person closed 2-hour workshop on storytelling. That's going to be great. We have Jonathan Singer from OWASP Orlando chapter doing it's going to be called Wheeze the Juice, which is an homage to Encino Man, and he's doing an OWASP juice shop workshop. So perhaps your Easter egg theme song might come in.
Nice. I can be there in music and spirit.
Yes, you can be there in music. We have DLL Cool J, which is my favorite handle I've ever heard.
That's great.
Jared Stroud from Arch Cloud Labs. He's doing a malware analysis platform 2-hour lab. And then we have Mr. Cyber Mentor himself, Heath Adams, and Zach Hill are doing a soft skills workshop on how to take your non-technical skills to the moon. And then the newest one, you just heard it here, we have Mr. Jason Haddix doing a bug bounty recon 2-hour workshop. And that's just the workshops, man. When we move into the actual conference day, if you go to, you have that there listed, the speaker index. We have just ridiculous things. I can't even go into how amazing this is. We have reformed black hat hackers. We have, TJ Null. We have Oscar Minks. The BC security guys. We have some 3-letter agency folks and Department of Defense and talks on pen testing platforms. So we're, leveraging the venue to talk about, hacking satellites and some serious talks. But we also have some newbie friendly and blue teamy talks. It's not just a red focused, offensive focused thing. It's going to be just a blast. We have so much in store. The venue is amazing. We're having after parties at the Radisson. We have several CTFs, ranging from a physical CTF to a career CTF. I could talk on and on and on about this. I know we have a limited amount of time, but I urge all of you folks out there to go to www.HackSpaceCon.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on LinkedIn. Purchase your tickets because this thing is selling out fast. And core to our mission, if you have a .edu address, we're offering admission at 50% off. So there's information there. For $200, I would pay $200 to watch any of these people talk about doing taxes and the proper way to fold laundry or something. Much less so learn about these ridiculous cool things that they have. So I don't have time to go into every single person here, but all of them are, idols, and I'm just to the moon, over the moon, I guess, to keep with the puns. This conference, and 7-minute security is a part you're graciously offering it to our raffle, which will lead me to my last spiel. One really cool thing that we're doing here, we have this raffle, and the thing with the raffle is 100% of the raffle proceeds are going into our mentorship and training apprentice program, which is leveraged to purchase additional certifications to award to people that qualify based on their ability to being an underserved community member of some sort. Veterans, minority groups, poor, lower income, whatever you have, we're offering the proceeds of this raffle with our partners to purchase these certificates and award them. And we have over 100 of them right now in that raffle. So I'm rambling at this point, but it gets me.
It's all good, man.
I'm tongue twisted like CrackMapExecing, right?
Yeah. You've got an incredible lineup there. And again, folks, stay tuned towards the end. Ken and the team have been gracious enough to give us 7 Minute Security some tickets to give away. So at the end of this presentation today, I'll pop up a little email address on the screen, write that, enter for a chance to win. And I think what I figured out with Ken is what I'll do is we'll do one giveaway per week up until the conference. So if you write us once, like today, you'll be in the virtual hat for the rest of the weeks, where we'll figure out I'll have Ken write some Python script or something to randomly choose a name from the list. So hey, stay tuned for that. And Ken, awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it seems wicked, cool, talented, nice people all in the same place, teaching each other about security and for good causes and good intentions. And I wish you guys and gals all the best of luck and blessing in that conference. And it's killing me that I can't be there. Oh, here's one question to leave to close things out with for this part, Ken, is I did see on your website some of this stuff that you went over, some of these sessions, there is a virtual option for, right? So people should check the website. And if you're like me, you're dying that you can't be there in person, you still could get some of this rad content at a reasonable price, yes?
Yes, absolutely. The paid, right now we have one paid option. That would be the advanced Active Directory pen testing course from Altered Security, from Nikhil and family. Depending on the talk, it will be live streamed and or recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel after the fact. However, due to NDAs and 3-letter agency type talks, some of these will not be broadcast over the interwebs. But so we urge you to purchase the ticket, get down there. It's $200. It's the price of a B-sides ticket for DEF CON quality. So yeah.
Nice, man. Thanks a ton. Well, if you want to hang around and crack a map and exec, you can, but I think you said you had to bail.
Yeah, I do have another call. But one last thing, if any of your audience is interested in volunteering, we need volunteers. That will get you a free admission as well, and be part of the conference. So thanks for having us on.
Very cool. Thanks so much, Ken. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye. Oh man, that sounds amazing. It is hurting my heart to not be there in person, but we press on, right? We'll press on. Hello, Tim. Hey, DF. Good to see more of you. Okay, shameless plugs. Let's get to the good of things. I cover these because the smart business people tell me to cover them, but we've got the ebook you can get for $7.77. We've got some light pen test, light hands-on training coming up. So come check those out. I'm looking to add a July, September, and November session soon. Just got to get together with the missus and figure all that out. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's do some cracking and let's do some cracking and mapping and execing. I've got what I hope is kind of a swift moving, action-packed CrackMapExec demo to show you. But in my quest to get more familiar with it myself and do more things with it than I have been doing, I realize there's a lot left to cover. So there will probably be a part 2 of this coming up. But let's start with some basics and some fun things that you may not know about CrackMapExec. First of all, get from the top. If you're not familiar, this is CrackMapExec or CME. You'll maybe see it listed on different pen testing websites, so forth. But it is, I think if I were to go on a pen test and maybe only have 3 tools to bring, CrackMapExec would totally be in there because I think their description crushes it. It's a Swiss Army knife for pen testing networks. And I hope by the end of our time together today, you will go, yeah, it is. And I know a bunch of different ways to use it. I just wanted to talk briefly to speak to, there are so many different ways you can you can get this, right? You can get it Docker flavored. You can do the download and install from the source kind of thing. But under the releases tab here on the right side, this is personally my favorite way to get it. So in my little, in recent weeks, we've done some fun like building your own pen test lab or building your own DIY Dropbox. We talked about how, at least the way we approach it is, I build a Milli Vanilli vanilla Kali VM, and as part of that process, once the OS gets laid down, I've got a script that kicks off and it goes and does a bunch of wget and apt-get commands to install all the things. And I'm pretty sure that these days, if you've got Kali installed, it'll have I think the CrackMapExec package is maintained as part of that. But still, what my build script does is it comes out to these assets and it pulls down the Ubuntu latest zip. And the reason I like to do that is it just makes it easy for dummies like me to not worry about, like I've gotten stuck a few times with, I pulled down a tool from the website and then I need to go through the install process. And part of that install process does some calls to Kali.org. And then I've got the blue team of my customer going, oh, we got you, Bri. We saw you do a call to Kali.org. So in the real world, we would have, pulled the plug on this device and done away with you, like dirty laundry. And I'm like, okay, well, it's like, I don't want to make myself look like an idiot, but I find myself saying, well, a real attacker wouldn't have done something like a big call out to Kali.org. And then that begs the response, well, I thought you were acting like a real attacker. So to avoid all that entirely, right, I like to pull down this zip from here, because then here I am in my Kali box. Once you have unzipped the zip, then all you have is a nice little CME binary. And I'm just going to make my life a little easier. I'm going to switch to just root here. But then you can just run CME without worrying about Python dependencies and this, that, and the other. Okay. Okay, so here we are with our good friend CrackMapExec. Boy, oh boy, can it do a lot of things. And I've tried to organize my thoughts and my notes in a way that makes some sort of logical sense. I'm going to do one thing here, because I know sometimes that bottom little, what do they call that, lower third or something? Sometimes it cuts off text. So I'm going to go with about this size of window. Let me start with some of the basic things. So when I ran CrackMapExec there, you probably saw that it lists out, here's all the different protocols that CrackMapExec can do things with. And admittedly, I spend most of my time fiddling with SMB operations as well as LDAP operations. So I'm kind of unexplored here as it relates to RDP, WinRM, MS-SQL, FTP, and SSH. So that's why I think there'll definitely be a part 2 of this to come. And this is kind of a good excuse for me too. Like once I've got to teach something, it's like, man, I better get under the hood and really figure out, am I getting the most out of this awesome tool? So we're going to focus today mostly on the LDAP and SMB protocols. Now, what you can do if you want to know, for example, hey, CrackMapExec, what are all the cool tools and tricks you can do with the SMB protocol? You can run CME, then pick a protocol, and then do TAC capital L. And that will list out for you all the modules for that. So we'll see at some point today, is a listing of all modules and a brief description. For example, BH owned. This is something I've got to get better at. I don't know if those of you who pen test, I don't know if you have this struggle, but I have a hard time sharp hounding and bloodhounding on one screen, and then CrackMapExec. There is some integration between the two now, where you can, feed info from CrackMapExec into Bloodhound so that who's an owned user, etc., is reflected, and you're not always trying to keep a separate note sheet of your ownage, right? So that's on my to-do list. But there's all sorts of other great point and shoot modules here to look for low-hanging fruit and exploit it, and maybe get yourself some easy or free creds. But when I'm on a pen test, the very first thing I'm going to do is just verify that the test account that the customer gave me works. So what I'll do is do a CME. I'll call the SMB protocol, and then I'll point at one of the domain controllers. So I'm here in our friendly little lab called Bryfly World, and I know that it only has one domain controller, and that is this one at this IP. So I'm going to feed it my TAC-U username, which is Bryfly, and my TAC-P password, which is winter 2023. And I've kind of been in the habit lately of putting my passwords in single quotes. I think CrackMapExec is pretty good about sanitizing them. If you have some weird password that's like, like that or something. But whatever, old and new habits die hard. So I pretty much do it like this, just to make sure I don't like keep hammering away trying to validate the wrong password and then lock my account up. That also doesn't look super professional, I would say, which when you turn to your customer and you're like, hey, I'm 10 minutes into this thing and I locked my account out. Could you reset it, please? But here's just a real basic validation for us, right? Okay, so we've come back here. We've got the green plus. That just lets us know your account is valid. We're good to continue testing. What I've, well, I should say in a real pen test, what I would probably do next is run right over to Ping Castle, which is probably my second favorite tool in the world. And I would do a full Ping Castle run to find low-hanging fruit. But if you just want to kind of bang through some CrackMapExec stuff to learn about the environment, one thing I would do next as well is I want to figure out on my domain controllers specifically, are they running print services? Because if they are, I might be able to trigger the print bug, get a domain controller to authenticate to me, and maybe capture tickets and that sort of fun stuff. So CrackMapExec has a module just called Spooler. So here I am, I'm pointed at the domain controller, and I'm just going to do TAC-M to call the module called Spooler. And in this case, goody goody, this would be good to note later in case we need it, print services are enabled. You can also, for pretty much every module, I believe, you could feed it, you could feed CrackMapExec a whole subnet. And just as a heads up, I've been working on some training materials for a different company, and my lab is very, very broken at this point. So some things may not work quite as advertised. You can see I've got a trusted relationship failure with a few boxes, but you get the point, right? That at least on a few servers here, we've got Spooler service enabled. So it's nice to be able to quickly enumerate that. Also, there's so much to touch on here. I'm just going to keep moving fast, but look at Google search for the no pack attack, no PAC, or SAM account spoofing attack. That's one that came out, I think, towards the end of 2021. I think it was around Thanksgiving of 2021. This attack came out, and the long and short of it is, if you have any valid Active Directory account, you can quickly become domain admin if your domain controllers are not patched for this vulnerability. So CrackMapExec has that testing capability right in it. So I'm just going to call the module that is named no PAC. And this is good. Oh, shoot. Okay. I did it against the whole subnet. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do it just against the domain controller. But if that domain controller was not patched, you would see a mismatch in this TGT size. And then CrackMapExec would tell you something like how to go the next step to elevate privileges and become Insta DA. So again, something that I check early on every engagement. I don't find it often, but I do still find it, especially in environments with very big multi-site environments. There's maybe the one satellite office in Chattanooga or something that just isn't, it fell outside of the patch cycle and it's been just sitting there outdated for a long time, it's a good thing to check. Another good one to find that whatchamacallit, Pingcastle will call out for you is, are there any group policy XML files out there with clear text credentials in them? And this CrackMapExec has got that module built in as well. It's called GPP password. I'm actually just going to start running things against the domain controller because I don't need to touch every box. But this will do that real quick for you as well, and decrypt the password on the fly, which is wonderful, right? So we've got a local admin account here called bfadmin, and here is its decrypted password. So you may be able to pass this around the environment and have local admin on chucking everything in the whole enterprise, and wouldn't that be nice for you? Yes, it would be. Another one I look for early in the environment is figuring out if they have widely deployed SMB signing. Quick and dirty on SMB signing, it is something that is turned on, switched on domain controllers by default, but unless you specify, it's off everywhere else on Windows workstations and servers. What it allows from an attacker standpoint, one of the things that it allows is I could find myself in a position where I'm listening for network chatter to happen with something like responder, and I could trick a system into starting an authentication conversation with me, and then as I capture that user name and hash, I could relay it to a host that has SMB signing disabled, and then do evil things. It's especially evil because in that situation I just described, I don't need to know the domain admin's password. I could certainly capture that hash and try to crack it, but I can just do relay, right? I'm rubber, you're glue. Your hashes bounce off me and stick to you. But if you've got SMB signing enabled, that is kind of an integrity check for that kind of attack. So if I tried to relay a DA hash to, Apo1 and it has SMB signing turned on, Apo1 is going to say, I can tell that these messages have been messed around with, so I'm not listening to you, and shut that attack down. I typically use, I'll show you just since we're talking about it, I typically use this tool that comes with Responder called Run Finger. And what you do is you feed it a subnet like this, and it'll tear through there. And the output is a little bit chunky, but you can see right in this column here, SMB signing false, 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 true, right? True on the domain controllers, like I talked about, false kind of everywhere else. But our good buddy CrackMapExec has this functionality built in as well. So I think, let me queue up so that it scans the full subnet. So let's do the full, whoops, let's do the full /24. And then what we do is call, it's kind of confusing because some things you call with TAC-M for module and some things you don't. So in this case, what we call is TAC gen, TAC relay, TAC list, and then a file to output the results to. So we could just call this SMB signing.txt and let it rip. This should, I believe, show us the output live like it is now. And then we should have an SMB signing file at the end. So this I really like. I'm probably going to start using this more often than Run Finger, because those relay attacks that I'm talking about, SMB relay attacks, one tool that I love to use for those is NTLM Relay, which is part of the Impacket toolkit. And one of the things you can do, in fact, I just did this recently on a pen test, is I was in an environment where just every so often, like once a day, there would be a high privilege account that was sweeping the subnets, doing some sort of like scanning or inventory operation. And what I wanted to do is relay that to a whole bunch of hosts. So the NTLM relay Python module for Impacket allows you to do that. But what you can do is say, all right, I want to set up my relay and I want to specify a list full of IPs to do the relay attack to. Well, what we just did with CrackMapExec is we've got this pretty little list of just IPs with SMB signing disabled. So bam, we just feed that into right into NTLM relay, and once that DA cred comes across the wire, boom, 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 it's going to try to relay it to .10, .11, 101, 102. That I think is a little cleaner list of IPs to try to play with than that more gnarly run finger output that I showed you. Okay, that's another great one. Let me see what else. Oh, now going back to let me go to my user here. Here's another thing I'll do is, in a small environment like this where I've just got one subnet, I'm going to spray my credential across the entire subnet and see if there's anywhere, any systems that show up as pwned, meaning I have local admin on them. So I've got local admin to desktop 10. I've also got local admin to app01. That's great. Now, from an attacker's point of view, one of the next things I might want to do is think to myself, ooh, app01, that's probably a place that domain admins and other high privileged, highbrow people hang out. I would sure like to set up a credential trap to be able to come back to later and maybe pull out some clear text creds out of memory. That can be, the trap can be laid by flipping a switch in the registry to enable the wdigest protocol. Okay, so I'm gonna narrow my attack a little bit here to specify just that app server that I have local admin on, and I'm gonna call the module wdigest, and I'm gonna set the action to enable. I have local admin, so I can play with the registry. Therefore, this attack will work. But here's the thing, folks, computers are really specific. And when you open something with a single tick, it's like, what are you doing? So now that I've closed that tick, this should work. And there we go. Registry key created successfully. So now what I would do on a pen test, although I have to just warn you, this is getting harder and harder. What I would like to do is come back later, maybe give this a few days, right? For users to start logging in and for the system to start caching those credentials in such a way that I can scratch them out later. What I would like to do is come back with a attack tool like there's LSASI, there's a whole bunch of other ones that will connect to a system and try to pull out those hashes and or creds for you. So CrackMapExec does have a bunch of these built in, such as the one called LSASI. But I will say from my experience anyway, this out of the box rarely works anymore because even good old Defender is fairly effective at defending against this. It recognizes the attack and it's like, no, not going to do it. But if you are in a Defender only environment, you may be able to like PowerShell remote into the victim system and turn off active protection on Defender. And then something like this may work. I don't know, our mileage might vary right here. I think maybe I turned off App01's shields. We'll just see if I get anything out of it. Oh, I did. Okay. So I got user Beverly. I got Beverly's hash. Okay. Beverly, I think, has local admin to a couple things. But it does give us a good opportunity to just, as a reminder, remind you that you can validate and authenticate with NTLM hashes as well as plain text creds. So if I wanted to authenticate to the domain controller with user Beverly, Instead of adding the TAC P for password, I can do a TAC capital H, paste that hash, and domain controller is like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you're Beverly. I don't know Beverly's password. Doesn't matter. I don't need to know it. And then if I wanted to, also spray that everywhere and figure out, where she has local admin, I can do that by just specifying the whole subnet, right? Let's see. Oh my gosh, I know I say this every time we do one of these, but I always think when I'm putting materials together, what I think about is this is only going to take like 10 minutes to go through, and then now we're nearing running out of time. So I think what I might do, because I've got a lot more to show, I might just keep this momentum going. I might just do part 2 next week, just so you know. Just thinking out loud. But let's do a couple. Actually, let's do a couple more. Let's do a couple more SMB attacks. We'll roll the commercial, okay, and then I want to show you a few LDAP things, and then that I think will be a good stopping point. And then I'd love to just keep this going, and maybe we cover CrackMapExec again next week. I just don't think you can really do this thing due diligence in under an hour or so. Okay. Oh, another thing as it relates to having local admin. Here's another lovely thing to do during a pen test. So I'll use Beverly's account since we've got her hash. We noted here that on Apple1, we are local admin as well. A great thing to do that will trigger some alarms, but might give you additional hooks into the environment real fast, is to do a tac SAM and dump out the local users and their hashes on one or more systems, okay? So if I run with tac SAM, I'm gonna connect to Apple1. I'm connecting as Beverly. Beverly's a local admin. And I have said, dump me out the SAM hashes. And here we've got, what looks to be the built-in admin account. We've also got this account called BF admin, which appears, if this was a real world company called Bryfly World that I was attacking, my antenna would go up here and I would go, you know what? I bet they use a BF admin account on every system in the environment. So if that is the case, and I of course will validate this, let me just grab this hash and let's do this. Let's use CrackMapExec again. Let's load up the whole subnet as our target. Let's do space tac username BF admin, and then this time tac H, because we're going to feed it a hash. And then here's where I see a lot of pen testers get tripped up a little bit, is they run it like this, okay? And it's like, oh man, well, that's so weird. This credential doesn't work anywhere. Well, the mistake we made is CrackMapExec thinks that we are trying to authenticate to all these systems with a domain account called BFAdmin, okay? So you see all these are prefixed with Bryfly World / BFAdmin. So what we need to do is we need to tell CrackMapExec, no, use the local account called BFAdmin. And we do that by doing tac local tac off, okay? So now what we'll see in our results is, okay, I'm trying to authenticate to DT11, DT10, Apple1, Devil1, right? And this makes me just happy to be alive when I see that, oh man, this BF admin account works all over the place. And I know we found that account earlier with that group policy weakness, but and we saw the clear text credential there, but this is assuming that we didn't find that. So it builds a good case, kind of on a tangent note here, but it builds a really good case for how important it is to have something like LAPS, the Microsoft local admin password solution, where every BF admin account would have had a unique password on it. That way, even if I compromise one endpoint, I can't just spread laterally and have my local admin clause in everything in the environment, right? Okay, let me show you. Oh, good Lord. There's so much more I want to show you. You know what we might have to do? Here's what I think we'll do. Let me roll a commercial. And then what I'll do is just for today, I will finish the SMB portion because I've got a lot more to show you. And I'm having a good time and I hope you enjoy this. And so check out the word from our sponsor and we'll be right back to wrap up part one.
Today's episode of the 7-Minute Security Podcast is brought to us by SafePass.me. SafePass.me is the most efficient and cost-effective solution to prevent Active Directory users from setting a weak or compromised password. It's in compliance with the latest NIST password guidelines, and it's the only enterprise solution to protect organizations against credential stuffing and password spraying attacks. And boy, do we love SafePass.me. It's super easy to use. You just download this MSI file to your domain controllers, you run it, you reboot the domain controllers, and boom, just like that, you will be actively preventing your users from picking millions and millions of known weak, leaked, breached passwords. It really is that easy. And I think one of my favorite parts is that SafePass.me includes a custom word list that you can use as well. So if you don't want people to be able to pick company name 2022, company name 2023, you can do that with the built-in SafePass.me word list. But beyond that, that's about how quick you can get it up and running. So next time Active Directory users get prompted to change a password, they type in the new password they want to use, and if it's on the block list, boom, they'll be told they have to pick something else. It's really awesome. We invite you to check out more at safepass.me, and don't forget to tell them that 7-Minute Security sent you, and you'll get a 10% discount. Again, that is safepass.me.
Okay, and we're back. I just put in the chat just a general question. Nobody probably cares about this, but I'll share it with you anyway. That these smart business people that consult with me are like, you gotta get in there. You gotta send people survey monkeys, do this, do that, gather the metrics, give them what they want to see out of a podcast or out of a video. And selfishly, I've pretty much always been like, I want to share what I'm excited about. And I think this is maybe one of the first times, certainly on video, where we've done pretty narrow look at one tool and just deep dive into it. So, but that's not to say I don't care about other people's opinions. So I did drop in a chat there the general question of, you know, do you like this? Do you like picking one tool and then kind of seeing like 12 things it can do? Or when we're talking pen testing, would you rather prefer more general content? Because I know for sure the Tales of Pen Test ponage that we do, that is more of A to Z retelling of what we found on the pen test. I know that's like our most popular content, but I really am liking just kind of slowing down and you know, just working with one thing. So let me know, you know, shoot me an email or drop me something in the chat and I'll certainly take it under advisement. Let's do, let's just do a couple more CrackMapExec things and then I'll put up the address for your chance to win a HackSpaceCon ticket. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to get through this. What do we got? We got 10 minutes. I'm going to power through this because I want to show you what my favorite SMB module shortly. And oh my gosh, I'm running out of battery on the AirPods. Hold on a second. Might have to switch to Let's see. Let's do check 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you can still hear me. If you can't, oh, and thank you for the comments. Tell me if you can't hear me. I had to switch to the general microphone. Jim says definitely more interested in deep diffs, but like the general, like one tool explained. Okay, okay, good. All right, let's see. Last few things. Gotta try to show you the goods. Back kind of in the beginning when I was telling you that I was first figuring out where my account was, both admin and such, right? Another thing that I like to do is figure out where do I have access to potentially write to shares. And this is the thing I kind of teased
up a couple weeks ago that I love that CrackMapExec can do. So let me just do something broad sweeping, like figuring out where the shares are. Now, in general, I like mapping shares with a tool called Power Hunt Shares. That's runs on PowerShell, and we've covered it extensively in the podcast. But when I'm just in a smaller network, right, I quickly want to see where do I have these sort of read and write missions. What I love to do is use CrackMapExec to drop little trap files for me. And I think we're going to do this. I'm going to show you this, and we're going to leave off here because there's too much to show you. Sorry, I'm sidetracking myself. But for example, down in here, this backups to folder, we have the opportunity to read and write to it. And what CrackMapExec can do is it can drop these little files that end in either .lnk or SCF. And what those files do, if they are sitting in, let's say you've got an S drive called shared, okay? And inside of that, there's IT, finance, marketing, blah, blah, blah. If you can drop one of these LNK or SCF files just in the root of that share, I don't know all the ins and outs of when this works or doesn't work, but in general, if someone comes with their Windows Explorer and just browses to that share where your LNK or your SCF file live, it can cause an authentication attempt to your attacking box and introduces the opportunity for you to grab and or pass and or crack a hash. Let me show it to you, and then I think it'll make sense if that was all just nonsense out of my face. But we've enumerated the shares, okay? Now we're going to use the CrackMapExec module called Slinky to plant these little trap files. Okay, so that's what this looks like. I'm going to do, I'm going to sweep this whole subnet. I'm going to feed it my credentials. And then, I'm sorry, I have to look at my syntax. The module is Slinky, okay? And then you specify the name of the file that you want to drop. I'm just going to call it LOL. But in real life, I might call it just something inconspicuous, like I kind of like to use _index because it looks harmless by its name. And also with the underscore in front, it sorts at the top. So if I'm looking at a big share, I can quickly see, did it make it there? But let's just do LOL. And then I have to tell it what bit of information do I want to write inside of this trap file so that the callbacks go to me. So really all I'm saying is the attacking box IP is as follows: 10.0.7.7. That's my Kali box here, okay? So we let it rip. It gives you the warning, hey, this is an OPSEC safe. You're going to drop some, you're going to write some data someplace. You sure you want to do that? Yeah, in this case we do. And then you'll see, okay, right here, this is what we're looking for. In BFDev01, there was a writable share called backups2, and we have created an LNK file on the backups2 share. All right, so what I would do after doing the Slinky attack is I would just do something in the background like run responder, and I don't have to, let me specify my interface. I don't have to run it in any sort of active poisoning mode because this link file, if triggered, is going to make machines talk directly to me. So I'm not doing any like protocol poisoning and shenanigans. So that means I'm safe to run responder in just analyze mode, where I'm listening and I'm looking, but I'm not touching. Okay, so we run that. All right, so with that running, now I think I'll be able to simulate it from here. So imagine me over in one corner of the network with Kali, right? But on this Windows desktop, here is me logged in as an admin, and I'm like, all right, I want to go to BFDev01. I've got some work to do. I got to check on those local backups in the backups2 folder. And did you see that? That's so cool. Let me cancel my thing. So all I did is I browsed to that share. Look at that. There's my LOL shortcut. And in fact, send to, can I send this to something? Let's see. I wanted to pop it open for you. I'm not sure if this will work. LOL. Okay, well, it's a little bit garbled, but look, it is telling the system to look up a file called 10.0.7.7. You know, it doesn't matter what it is, but it causes that authentication attempt to my attacker box, and goody two shoes, I have captured the local domain admin hash. Awesome, right? I know I'm a big dumb animal and I'm a nerd, but that is so cool. And I'll tell you, you know, I've done the Slinky attack on some environments that are very, you know, SMB share or file heavy. I set up that responder to listen, and it's just freaking raining hashes. It's just filling up, and I'll see like 1,000 things like this, skipping previously captured hash, right? But that makes it so easy for me to stage these. Well, actually, what I would do is I would take all those hashes, put them in my cracking box, but then I would set up some relay attacks to abuse SMB signing, and, for example, relay the admin hash to some other box and make it, you know, install software or install a new local admin, whatever. Now, final thing I'll show you for today, because I know we're running out of time and I'm way too excited about this. When I think one of the reasons I didn't want to do this in the beginning is I don't like to leave remnants behind of pen testing whenever possible. But what I didn't realize is that Slinky module has a built-in cleanup function. So I'll just show you in one window here, right? There's my little LOL file. All I need to do is rerun my same Slinky command, but at the end, do cleanup equals true. Now this will sweep through all the subnets, look for the link file called LOL, and then remove it. Not OPSEC safe, because you're going to delete files. So just, you know, name it something unique. You know, that would be the only danger, right? Is you call it, I don't know, passwords.doc or something. And I'm trying to think of worst case scenario, but we're fine here because nothing else is named LOL. Let me try that again. And there we go. It goes through, and I don't know if you saw it, but the LOL file disappeared. All right. Seeing the comments here, it looks like, yeah, Carl, to your question, definitely wouldn't get rid of Tales of Pentest Ponage. I just didn't know if, like, you know, good to do sprinkle in a little more of these, because there's Rubius. There's so many tools that do multiple things that in a Tale of Pentest Ponage, maybe I'll touch on one thing that it does that I think it'd be fun to do more of these. So I unless I have something planned for next week that I'm not remembering, I think we'll just pick this up again next week if you like this. And if you don't, then come back some other Thursday at 1 p.m. And I'd love to hang out with you and tinker with security stuff. So, oh, good Lord. Almost forgot. Almost let you go before I put up the super secret email address. If you want to win yourself, get in the virtual bucket, get us a ticket to HackSpaceCon, drop an email to this address. Okay, HackSpace, all one word, at 7ms.us. And again, this now, whether you hear about it on the podcast, I'm going to do one drawing per week up into the conference, but you will be in that bucket the whole time, so you don't have to like send in an email every week. Just email for your chance to win, and we'll have the conference folks contact you directly if you do win. And I will not use that email address for anything else except to put it in a virtual hat, let the conference folks pick and contact you. So you're not signing up for 7MS newsletters, anything like that. But of course, the other stuff on the screen, I'd love for you to check out, you know, Patreon, Twitter, YouTube, consulting services. That'd be cool. We'd love to be considered for that. So, all right, I'm out of breath and I need to go get a Mountain Dew. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I hope to see you next week. Again, HackSpace at 7ms.us for your chance to win a ticket to HackSpaceCon, and have a blessed week, okay? And we'll hope to talk to more of you next week. All right. Take care.
You've been watching or listening to 7 Minute Security, a weekly podcast focused on pen testing, blue teaming, and building a career in security. For more episodes like this, visit 7ms.us. And for information about our consulting services, visit 7minsec.com.